In this video, I'll be doing a power steering pump replacement on the Hummer H3. Let's get cracking. First, I will remove the serpentine belt from the power steering pump pulley. To do this, I use a ratchet to loosen the belt via the belt tensioner. Next, I remove the skid plates to allow for drainage of the power steering fluid and also place a catch can below to contain the fluid. Now, I slice the low pressure return hose lengthwise at the reservoir connection to allow for easier removal. Be careful not to put too much pressure on this connection because the low pressure return nipple on the reservoir breaks extremely easily, and the only way to replace this reservoir is to buy a whole new pump assembly from ACDelco. With the low pressure hose detached, the reservoir and hose will drain. Now I can remove the high pressure return hose from the power steering pump by loosening the nut securing it on. Next, I will remove the 3 bolts securing the power steering pump to its mounting bracket before completely removing the pump from the engine bay. With the power steering pump removed from the vehicle, I will separate the power steering pump pulley from the pump to reuse it on the new pump, which does not come with a pulley. Most major parts stores offer a pulley puller and installer tool in their loaner program, which I strongly recommend using. With the puller installed, I could tighten it down until the pulley pops free. Next, I will install the pulley onto the new pump using the installer tool included with the kit. I tighten the pulley until the installer bottoms out, indicating a fully seated pulley. The ACDelco power steering pump I purchased comes with a reservoir, unlike other aftermarket pumps. If reusing the old reservoir, remove the reservoir using the 2 clips that secure it onto the old pump and reinstall it onto the new pump. For installation, I will reverse the order of disassembly, starting with installing the 3 bolts securing the pump to its mounting bracket, which are torqued to 18 foot-pounds. Next, install the high-pressure return hose onto the pump, taking care to not over-tighten it. Then reinstall the serpentine belt, and finally flush the system using new power steering fluid. I have a detailed video on flushing the power steering system of the Hummer H3, but I'll also include a brief overview of the process here. Leave the plug on the low pressure return side of the reservoir if it came with one. Otherwise, plug the low pressure return nipple with some rubber hose. And with the front end on jack stands, turn the steering wheel from lock to lock repeatedly, allowing for fluid to travel through the system and pour out of the low pressure return hose. Be sure to have a properly placed catch can to prevent making a mess. Trim off the small section of low pressure hose which was sliced lengthwise during removal. Remove the plug from the low pressure nipple on the reservoir and reattach the hose. Secure the hose to the reservoir nipple with the OEM hose clamp. Top off the reservoir and continue turning lock to lock until the fluid level remains stable. Again, refer to my power steering fluid flush video for a more in-depth guide on this process. And there's my guide on power steering pump replacement for the Hummer H3. Shout out to my support on Patreon. Thank you so much for contributing to the Hummer Fund, and I'll see y'all next time.